So we're in Siman Rishon and Beis Sifhei. This is actually the third session that we're going to have on this today. We're going to be specifically dealing with a few miscellaneous topics that apply to the halachas that we've been learning. In particular, we're going to be focusing on alarm clocks. And is it so simple that it's actually going to be permissible to set an alarm clock for Shabbos, depending upon the type of alarm clock? Could use your phone as an alarm clock, etc. Different songs that are used on alarm clocks. Are those permissible? It has to be the set classic alarm clock sound. And then also about making ice before Shabbos, but it freezes on Shabbos. So is that going to be a problem? So let's start with the alarm clock discussion first, and then we will continue with the other discussions over here. So the Piskei Teshuvos over here, which we have been going through on this sif. So this is the last section that he has on this sif. He says from this Ramah who talks about that you could set like timers even though it makes noise. So you see from over here that you could use a type of like alarm clock. All right, that's set and that's going to wake you up on Shabbos. However, we have many alarm clocks nowadays that when they go off, they literally play music. They play songs. So the question is, would that be permissible to use on Shabbos or not? So those could very well be an issue because of Zelusa de Shabbos of the Ashtei Milsa. It's considered belittling Shabbos, and it makes a commotion, makes a tumult. So if there's special song playing alarm clocks, then that could very well be a halachic issue that one needs to keep in mind as well. Now, because of the honor and holiness of Shabbos, it's correct to refrain to having these types of song as the alarm clock, and also that using your phone, using your phone, could very well be a problem, right? Because the type of ring that your phone makes going off on Shabbos, that could already be an issue, and therefore that the vibrating sounds from the phones are also could very well be an issue, right? You should make your alarm in a way that for your phone that it will only sound like a regular alarm, not like a phone, and definitely not with the actual songs, you know. So this sheds light on another issue, which is for those people who still have landlines, house phones. I don't know statistically how many people do. I felt for a long time already they're obsolete and they're unnecessary. But for those people that do, you should try to lower your ringtone if you could on Shabbos that you can't hear it in case person calls a lot. So that's the idea that we see from over here. Now, regarding this concept of the phone being used as an alarm clock, potentially more of a halachic issue. This is talking about that your phone is muksa. We're assuming that you're not allowed to move the phone, right? Now, this really depends. The reason is a phone is designated for conversing, right? Whether verbally or through text, etc. It's obviously used for other things nowadays as well. But if your phone is only set up in a way that it could be used as a clock, so then that would be less of a halachic issue. In fact, it might not even be halachically muksa. That's already discussed in Shin Ches that we have to discuss.
What's it like airplane mode or something? What?
Yeah, exactly. And if you literally can't, if it literally doesn't have any other function, you remove any other potential function. So therefore, uh, if your phone isn't set up on that way and it's set as a clock, you shouldn't keep it next to your bed where you could reach because perhaps when you're in the middle of sleeping, you might come to extinguish it when the alarm goes off because you're used to it. Number one. Number two is you might come to feel next to you. What time is it? So you have to be double careful about that on Shabbos. You know, there's an interesting point over here, which is nowadays we have so many different types of ringtones and alarm sounds that could go off. Therefore, it could be that there is no specifically designated type of ringtone anymore to receive phone calls. It used to be it was one-stop shop, no matter what company you had, it was the same exact sound, right? Nowadays, it's not. So therefore, it couldn't be a problem. Maybe perhaps since we have so many options of different ringtones, it's not going to be a problem with the alarm as well. Songs would definitely be a problem, but other ringtones could very well not be an issue. So many ringtones, yeah.
We're only talking about a phone right now. We're talking about a phone that's used as an alarm clock.
Yeah, regular alarm clock is
Uh,
fine. Now,
Why
even with the regular alarm clock, you still
why
have
is
to
it why
be
isn't a regular
concerned
clock?
about what we just said, which is if it's going to be too close to you and you might need to snooze it. That's why you have a beautiful invention, the Shabbos alarm clock, that is totally covered so you can't snooze it.
So a Shabbos alarm clock, it's not muksa at all, meaning you can't, even if you can take, you're not going to come to take off the cover.
No, no,
It's not muksa, it's
no.
fine.
Let's discuss a few other important ideas regarding this over here. The Dershu Mishnah Brura in footnote 18 quotes, this is going on what we're learning. You start an act before Shabbos that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos, it can continue into Shabbos. So they say, let's say you have a split unit air conditioning system. So Nitzim Karelitz in the Chuchani Chelik Al Perik Yud Cotton Daled says that the water many times gets drained outside of the house. There's drops of water that come. Sometimes it could be already significant. The shaila becomes if that water then trickles and drips into your grass, onto your grass or plants, is that going to be halachically a problem now? Based on what we saw before about the sprinkler usage, and now you're causing it to grow, and it's happening on your watch, and it's making noise. So he wants to say that it's fine, which I think is pashut also. Me'inyan le'inyan, similar shaila, which could very well happen on sukkahs. Sometimes you see people making washing stations, right? Like on their deck or something outside of the sukkah. So the question is, let's say you have the old-fashioned plumbing and it just drains through a pipe and then it goes right on the floor. So is that going to be a problem of now watering your grass as well? So they say over here, they quote Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach in the Shmir Shabbos Kilchas Perek Be'ezahara Nun Aleph as well as Chel Gimel, who says that your intention is certainly not to water your grass, right? Or your plants, trees, lawn, whatever, etc. So therefore it'll be permissible, even though it's psik d'reisha. It's inevitable and you know you're doing it. Nevertheless, since it's happening through a koyach sheni, so to say, a second strength, it's only considered a grama. It's like you're indirectly doing something and therefore it'll be permissible.
So the case is that you're on your deck and you're washing, and then what if there's a drainage that happens from your deck and it goes onto the ground? Okay.
Correct. Whereas opposed to if you're just directly washing your hands on the grass, that will be a problem. Over here, the idea is that there's a leniency because there's a sink/pipe system, plumbing system set up. Therefore, it's permissible.
The issue is, miracle with the lawns, the big houses, you go outside.
It's permissible.
No, I'm saying, let's say your sukkah's outside, and you go to the hose, right?
Yeah, regular hose is an issue.
The hose, and
Regular
let's say you're on the sidewalk, but let's say maybe his case is a little different. Let's say you're on the sidewalk.
If it's going to stay on the sidewalk, it's fine. If not,
But if it does stay on the sidewalk, is that not the koach sheni then?
that's right. If it doesn't stay on, so if it's going to go from a sidewalk to the grass, it could very well be based on this logic that it'll be permissible. Could very well be. Let's talk about the ice case. You're putting water in the freezer before Shabbos. It's near the time of Shabbos up. It's certainly not frozen. It's going to freeze on Shabbos. Is that going to be permissible or not? Very relevant shaila. It's amazing when you analyze something so much and you dig so deep, you see how many very relevant shailas could come up. I mean, just think about when we actually get to Hilchos Shabbos, how much we're going to be learning. It's incredible. Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach in the Shmir Shabbos Kilchas Perek Yud Ha'ara Tes says that that's permissible. Even though some hold prohibited to make ice on Shabbos because of nolad, which it seems is the general halacha also, you're causing a new entity to be created, a birth. Nevertheless, since you are doing this before Shabbos, and at that moment the water was already placed in a situation which it was set up to become ice. Therefore, it's as if you put a koira, a type of pressing beam, on before Shabbos, on olives and grapes in order that the oil and wine would get extracted from the olives and the grapes, respectively, which would be permissible on Shabbos.
You know, Bishul, I guess, has his own animal, why it has to be in Kamachal Ben Soy, that you have to have it that way before Shabbos.
Yes, that's its own discussion. Correct. Yeah. Now, you have another child. How is it permissible to take the ice out on Shabbos and use it? It's going to melt. It's nola the opposite way. You are altering the state from a solid to a liquid. That's not a problem. Because since when they went into Shabbos, it was water. So now it's in noila l'chatzi Shabbos. You can have nola on half Shabbos. It's an interesting question, the reverse way. If it was completely made before
I was
Shabbos.
just thinking, right, if you could use the ice for the water.
And then right, yeah, it's permissible.
But if
You have
you
to
use-
discuss why though.
Right.
We'll have to discuss it when we learn Nolad. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Sfardim, by the way, I'm way more lenient when it comes to Nolad. I'm not mistaken, which is interesting. Okay, I mean, on footnote 24, we already discussed about the laundry before Shabbos if you're gonna put something in the laundry machine. So they
What was
quote,
the what,
yeah.
wait, what was that case with Rebbe Vadio gave the heter? What was the exact case that the soldier wanted to do
Yeah, the
have
only time for him to do the laundry was and put it in the dryer was before Shabbos was going to run on Shabbos. He said pressing.
oh, it was gonna dry on Shabbos,
Yeah,
maybe?
he had to leave immediately after Shabbos, something like that. Doesn't really apply nowadays to anyone.
And it's better not it's better he said it was better not to hang it up than to put me who
Hang
knows.
it up, great, but you can't always hang it up. If it is hung up, if I'm not mistaken, you're not allowed to remove it on Shabbos because migud it katzei lebein hashmashos, it's katzei lekuli alma. It was muksar of Shabbos, it wasn't fit to be used, so now it remains muksar the whole Shabbos, so you can't even use it later.
Oh, right, it is.
Well, yeah, obviously we're talking about a wet situation over here. That's why you're drying it, right? So anyway, so Shlomo Salman Auerbach says about this. In Shas Shuvas Mincha Shlomo Chilik Al Siman Yod Oz Beis, it's prohibited because it's kirei chayim shel mayim. It's like the mill for water, which is prohibited to put wheat in there because it makes noise. And there's a problem of zilzul b'kavod Shabbos, belittling the honor of Shabbos. Also, the Or L'Tzion says this as well in the Shalos Shuvas Chilik Beis. Perik Tezayin Tshuva Yud, as well as the Shalosh Shuvas Igros Moshe and Or Chaim Chilekei Simin Chav Beis Oslam et Ches regarding a dryer as well. And the Or L'Tzion adds it's prohibited to do this because there's a concern that you might come to do something you're not allowed to do on Shabbos itself. Nevertheless, in a pressing situation, for example, if you weren't able to launder the clothing on Erev Shabbos and you need to go immediately after Shabbos, you could permit it. Okay, so they don't quote Ravajo over here, but that it's similar child over here. So that is the story with the laundry machine, as we already learned last session. I think it was yesterday we learned, right? Yeah, about the whole laundry machine situation, in which the halacha would be as long as the machine will be off before sunset, then it's fine. Even if it's after the time when you light candles, that's an important idea. But you have to be careful from machines that just keep running and running. What about generators? Running those that make noise on Shabbos? So the Chazon Ish, okay, he's quoted in the Sefer Halicha Shabbos b'Shabbos, Chelik Aleph, Perek Beis, footnote 38 says that would not be a problem because that's the norm. People already activate the generator. They have it going from before Shabbos. There's no problem of belittling Shabbos. So that is the situation with the generator system.
Now, what about if you have a generator that's hooked up to go on when you have a blackout? So let's say there's a blackout on Shabbos.
So that also would be permissible because it was set Erev Shabbos. It's not like we learned the other session that you're setting your sprinklers, you're setting your hot plate to go on at this time, your oven to go on at that time, your washing machine to go on at that time. It's not like that. This is a generator. You need it for the basic power. It's set. It's not for a specific time. It's an emergency situation. That would seemingly be fine. This is where it comes from. Also, may we add in vacuums are a problem. They make noise. Even if you have help that isn't Jewish, they're not allowed to do it. And the problem is because people are going to think that you told them to do that on Shabbos, and you can't do that, right? Anything that you can't do, you can't tell them to do. So I mean, we're gonna have to see if we come on to exceptions when we get to the actual Hilchos Shabbos. Then we'll get to it. But you can't just say shvus to shvus on a vacuum
No, because that's
because
tsar or mitzvah.
because that's no even shvus to shvus with makom mitzvah, right? Whatever the exact case would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes noise, and you can't always just apply that.
You can't just buy one of that noise.
Right, and is a vacuum really an emergency situation? Saying vacuums are a relatively new invention. If you go back in history, when were they invented? 100, 200 years ago? This world's been around for thousands of years. Bend down and clean the thing yourself, right? Or use a broom or something. You don't need the vacuum. Even on a carpet, I mean, it depends on the carpet, but most people, their carpet isn't more than a quarter of an inch thick. You're able to sweep a little bit on that. You're able to do right if it's an emergency situation, and you get it done after Shabbos. They're carpet cleaners, whatever. You figure it out, right? Okay, if you got carpet like in a Rolls Royce that's an inch thick, okay. So even so, after Shabbos, you'll figure it out. Usually it's an emergency. Okay. They talk about in footnote 28 alarm clocks, which we were just discussing. Look, we already discussed it. They quote from the Igros Motion or Chaim Chelik Dalet Siman Ayin Os Vav, who says that if you could hear the ringer outside of your room where you're sleeping, for example, let's say other people are sleeping in the nearby rooms, that could very well be a problem because of Ashrei Milsa.
Wow.
So you have to be careful the volume of your alarm clock, and therefore people might suspect that you set it on Shabbos, which is a tremendous stringency. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach argues on that in the Shmir Shabbos Kilchas and Perek Kavches footnote Samachay, who says that would not be a problem. And this is the story with the alarm clocks and everything like that. Okay. Any questions on anything pertaining to this sif?
Wait, so what's the heter? What's the heter? So why would someone think you set it on Shabbos?
Why would someone what?
Why would someone think that you set it on Shabbos? Set the alarm
Because
clock
if
on
they
Shabbos.
heard it, maybe they'll suspect it. They'll think it's a chiddush in Ramosha. You have to look up the tshuva. I didn't look up the tshuva, to be honest. I just saw it quoted. I think the custom
Right.
is not that way, but if one could lower it and still wake up, then he should do that.
Yeah.
If you really have problems waking up, I'll bring all my kids over. They'll take care of you. They're up from in the fives. So.
Yeah, well, it's light
Thick,
and it's 5 in the
thick.
evening.
Yeah, when it's light. Yeah. Anyways, okay, fine. So let's stop this shift here.